Fair. There we are.
Right. So greetings wherever you are, and welcome to Being Your Own CEO. And wherever you are is a loaded statement this morning because everybody's out there on various Hangout text boxes trying to get in, and I don't know, four of us have managed to get in here, and so I did not restart. So just to continue my usual introduction, this is our weekly success circle for solopreneurs. We get together because we enjoy each other's company and we like exchanging ideas and information. And it's all about giving and receiving support in my book. So welcome here, folks, and let's at least get rolling and do a little bit of introductions, and then maybe we can sort of talk about what's been going on. We do have a topic, but there's a few other things that need to be explored. So Jay, you were first here, so away you go.
Cool. Let me find you here. There you are. Hello, my name is Jay, and my company is Magi Studios, and I help people get started in the world of online marketing through coaching, consulting, and training.
Right on, and you're in Victoria.
I'm in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Yep.
Was it crazy out your way last night?
Oh, it was fantastic. We had mass amount of steady stream of kids. We had fireworks. I had a zombie window on my. I have a projector, which I was showing like these kind of zombies behind a curtain. Yeah.
Your boys are just that age where they just get into that stuff, don't they?
Yeah, and we also had a giant animatronic spider that jumps out. To any kind of sound, right? So if the kids say trick or treat, this thing goes boom. So it was.
Oh my!
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
Was that inside or was that on the porch?
That was outside on the porch.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope I can find the picture we took this morning. On our walk, we saw something. Oh, it's not in Google Photos yet. Darn. I took it on my phone. I'll have to see if I can find a way to share it with you. It is just hilarious.
So that's what the kids got to see on my window.
Oh, God. Okay, so and Vivek is out there, and he's saying that there's a big celebration in his neck of the woods and firecrackers and all kinds of things happening out there. So anyway, I'm glad you made it, Jay. And Craig, I think you came in roughly at the same time. So how would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, hi, my name's Craig, and for the short term, I'm in Western New York. Before I head back down into the war zone, I've been helping with hurricane cleanup in Hilton Head Island. So I'll be driving back down there next week.
So how long does it take to drive from home to there?
Anywhere from 14 to 16 hours, depending on traffic. I'm actually going to visit a WA member on the way down. I'm going to stop and spend the night, and we're going to have breakfast tomorrow or on Monday morning.
Right.
And then I'll go the rest of the way. So it's about halfway. So I figured, I'll go till about 11 o'clock, and then I'll crash for a few hours and then have breakfast and head out again.
Oh, that'll be nice. Isn't it amazing to get to meet people that you met online face to face?
Yeah, well, I've talked to him for years, so
yeah. Right on.
It's Tony, Jay, in case you.
Oh, Tony. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I know you guys are always sort of talking.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be
Doing
about a half an hour from where he lives, so I'm gonna just spend the night close, and then we'll have breakfast and
Yeah.
go
Right
our
on.
merry ways.
In the words of Shawshank Redemption, they're thick as thieves. Those two.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah, I don't know if that's good or bad.
I did pick that up somewhere along the way. So I'm glad you made it this morning, Craig.
Thanks.
And Nathan, I think you were next.
Okay. Am I unmuted? I think I am.
Yes, you are.
Cool. Yeah, my name is Nathan. I'm calling in from Ensenada, Baja California, Mexico. And my business is what I call Done For You Publishing, where I take writers from zero to published author quickly using the process of interviewing.
Right on. Perfect, perfect.
Yep. Got my pitch down.
Yeah. And Alana, you made it. You actually should have been the first one because you were the first one trying.
I know, and then I had I couldn't hear anything, so I went out, and then once I got out, I couldn't find my way back in. So anyway, I got back in. So I'm trying yet another room in the house to see if I can. So I'm now on my daughter, and she has a much bigger desk, which is great, so I can put out my notes and all.
Right.
My name is Alana. I am living in Ireland, and my website is Online Income and Resources, as well as Techie Travel Bits. And yes, I am an online affiliate marketer.
Right on. And so,
part-time, yeah.
So happy to have you here. We may have a few others if they finally find a way to get in. There were several others who said they wanted to come in. So we'll just play it by ear. So in line with what you said, Craig, about Tony saying that it was the mobile was working really, really well, et cetera, et cetera. I sat in and watched, I guess I didn't sit in, but I watched a hangout yesterday with a lady from the East Coast of the U.S. who is starting up a business helping people with their mobile presence. And she, in her presentation, she mentioned a couple of things that I have not been able to verify, but maybe some of you will know something about it. She claimed that yesterday or the day before, Google made an announcement that anybody that their search their SERPs would all be focused on mobile as of now, so that if you've posted stuff or you've done any searching on your desktop, you're not going to get the same thing at all. And so, I mean, her point was that, you know, things are going toward mobile to the point where it's going to be more and more difficult for people who are hanging on to the desktop stuff.
You know, I think it's wonderful that they're doing that, but they're abandoning an entire segment of the population. And, you know, okay, maybe we're not important, but,
Well,
you know, I'm sorry, but it just seems to me that they should cater to their entire audience, not just one segment.
Well, but she made the point that that is what they're doing, is catering to, because if you look on the if you look at activity on the internet globally, I mean, there are whole continents of people who only access the internet through a mobile. And we in North America are only a small portion of that audience. So I found that kind of interesting that she kind of pointed that out. I mean, if you look at the whole continent of Africa, most people, that's all they do. They never did have phones or TVs or any of those things. They built towers for their cell phones. And I don't know whether Vivek wants to chime in somewhere, but it might be interesting to hear what he has to say. So yeah, so maybe we're just being kind of egocentric and thinking we're the only people in the world that that Google is paying attention to.
I don't think it's egocentric. I think it's yes, I understand that mobile is important, but it seems to me that they're basically abandoning an entire segment of their population.
Yeah.
Which happens to be North America. I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So before we move on, I see Heidi has joined us. Heidi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm happy to come in for a moment. I'm still so taken by all the earthquakes we have here and all the forecasting and the denial of possibility and the downgrading so that the insurances don't have to pay and all these things. They are really bringing my emotions. I have a hard time to do my work. So just come in, let you know, and I'm not really on the topic. Just listen a little bit.
But you haven't even heard what the topic is going to be because I haven't announced it.
I saw it somewhere.
Oh yeah,
online
online strategy. Yeah. But we were. I mean, I suppose. I mean, I brought this in because it will impact what our online strategy may be. So, but Heidi, you are in Italy, and I've seen little notices that you have been saying you're safe, but your background looks different. So, did you have to leave your own house? No,
not really. I mean, when I knew that the big one would happen on Sunday, we slept in the other part of the house, which has iron construction, so it wouldn't. This part here is a stone and this would fall down. We went to the other one, and ironically, we were just gotten up, and then it began to.
Oh, yeah.
It was, you know.
That's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And my intention is to bring out that there is a person on YouTube who is predicting earthquakes. He's better than the people who predict the weather. And the official science is denigrating it, shutting down. My trust in Google is so much lower down when I see how often they shut him down, because he is pointing out the connection with fracking and pumping operations and where earthquakes for America mainly, no? And they are really doing their best to try to. And they're even doing, you know, things which is denigrating science. They deliberately take out the things which would serve him to the prediction. They're coming up a moment and then they disappear. And, you know, or they are not reported in America, but reported in Europe. And, you know, this I don't believe anything anymore on the current science system, which is a belief system. And it's not curious and not trying to find the truth. And this guy is, I mean, since the last earthquake, 24th of August, I'm following him. He is a scientist. He is doing really scientific work, and he's explaining why he comes to the forecast and what is changing and so on. He really deserves that it goes out into the world, that people are, he's called Dutch Sins, Dutch like Holland, and then Sins. And please go to his YouTube channel with an I, Sins, yeah. And so, you know, he always loses all his viewers when they shut him down. He loses the likes, everything. So it's a catastrophe. So I'm really disappointed about Google that they.
Is it Dutch plus
like,
numeral 6?
This is Dutch like Holland, like.
Yeah,
people, no?
But 6, S-I-X, or numeral 6?
I-N-S-E.
Oh, I-N-S-E. Okay.
So
Incense. Ince. Okay.
That's sense, yes. And really, I'm so much concerned, not only about the earthquakes, but about the state of our official science and governance, and that, you know, it's really so disappointing.
Well, and I can see why you would I can see why you would be focused on that, because if you're in the midst of an earthquake, yeah.
And you see how they're manipulating it. I heard the first, which was on Sunday, it was 7.1 reported right at the beginning, which is quite high. And
Yes,
house down. And then they have downgraded it to 6.5. And I heard just now, but I haven't proved it yet, that they are downgrading it to 6.1, because with 6.2, the insurances need to pay, and 6.1 they don't need to pay. And so, you know, and think this happened in our world. This is, I'm not sure if it is really true. I just heard it. I haven't verified it yet. But they did with the last one, last Wednesday. They kept it under 6.2. So.
See, now I explored all that with because I just renewed my house insurance, or my apartment insurance 2 weeks ago, and I explored all of that. This whole thing about, because I have an earthquake rider on my insurance, and there was no mention of whether it had to be at a certain level. No mention at all.
They will say afterwards when it happens.
Well, that's that. Thank you for mentioning that, because I think it will be worth looking into.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah.
So thank you for your compassion and for my ranting. Bring it out, and please spread the word about this guy. He's really a scientist. He is doing scientific work for saving lives. You know, this is
right.
I'm seeing something very similar. I'm watching the hurricane insurance industry, and that is such a racket. It's just amazing. People are getting hit with deductibles at 5% of their home's assessed value, and the home assessed value is astronomical. So all of a sudden, these people have to come up with $100,000 in deductible costs. You know. And it's like, why did we spend that money on insurance?
Why did we buy insurance to start with?
Yeah.
Well, it's that whole sort of big business thing that. But anyway, let us go back to our topic that we were exploring. This, I mean, I was leading into what's our online strategy. And I had brought up this whole business about it's going to be mobile, and I should actually share a little bit more with you what this lady was saying, because it will impact our conversation about what our online strategy should be. However, I would really like to make use of comment tracker. Here's a comment from Vivek, and he says huge population with India only uses mobile phone and mobile devices to connect. So that's basically what this lady's point was, that we in North America, and I mean, when we look at the cost of data here, it's astronomical. I have lots and lots of friends who have smartphones who do not access data in their plan because it's so damn expensive. And I mean, so there are all kinds of issues around that. However, what I wanted to share with you, in line with what our online strategy might be, etc., this lady was promoting the idea that we all need to learn more about connecting with our world out there through our phones. And one of the things that I found kind of alarming, and you may find it alarming as well, now she was trying to put forward the idea that email marketing was dying a quick death, Well, let me make the point, and then you guys can speak up. She was making that point and saying that now what people were going to be asking for is your phone number so that they could market to you using texting. And I thought, I don't want to be marketed to over using texting. I use that for personal connections with my friends, you know, in town when we're doing whatever. And the other thing is, I see that Alana is saying I would never give my phone number. Well, I signed up for one thing and did that because I wanted to see what kind of an impact it would have and what happened as a result. So there was this one person, and it seemed like she was connected to some kind of an organization that's really moving out into teaching people how to market using their phones. So so it's a new world that we all really need to wrap our minds around. I mean, going back to what Craig said earlier, maybe all of these difficulties that we've been having the last 2 weeks, I think it is, with the changeover from Google Plus to YouTube for our Hangouts, and I mean the problem we had last week where I couldn't shut down. I couldn't stop the broadcast, and there was I mean I won't go into all the details, but it was a mess, an absolute mess. And I'm listening to what all the folks that are on Andrew's in his community, the user to user, and everybody's having these problems. So we're just hoping that everything will settle down eventually. You know.
So yet again, we have a Google deployment issue.
Yes. Now I should show you what Vivek said. He's just added another comment here. I actually blame Microsoft for forcing people to use mobile devices only because they forced Windows 10 on almost all computer users who have any very limited internet connectivity, and Windows 10 is an internet network hog. And all of this, the message is truncated. All of these people ended up with very, very, very slow computers, whereas their mobile phones are so much easier and faster, he's saying. So
yes, Microsoft Windows 10 has been a wonderful boon for Apple.
Right. So, I mean, basically what I'm trying to say is we're very much aware that we're on the cusp of another major shift. And I mean, if we're going to be doing things, we need to be aware of them and need to sort of make decisions about what we want to learn and what we want to let go of and all of that. That's what it means to be part of the real world today. So I see that Paul has joined us. Welcome, Paul. We're moaning on and on about all the difficulties. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 text boxes open here where everybody's been trying to get in, and I don't know whether you had difficulties getting in this morning or not.
No, I was following you on the outside and just had the opportunity now to jump in. Just a comment. You're talking about the deployment of information and contacting clients and things like that. As you know, chatbots have been an interest of mine for some time, and I think they play into what we all talk about, the millennials' desire to use their phone and to use texting as their form of communication. And to give an idea of how that platform is moving, a company called Shopify just gave 250,000 of their people that are listed on Shopify the ability to take the Shopify information and create a chatbot for it. So they look at that as an interconnection that the companies want to be using with their clients. So it's, as you say, the times are a-changing and fast.
Yes, absolutely. And it doesn't serve any of us to hang on to all the old stuff just because it's more comfortable. So I see that Roland has joined us, and he was saying, shall I share your comment, Roland? You're here, or would you like to come on and say it? Oh, he says he's not going to stay. Okay, so Roland was saying I had tech issues for several days prior to Saturday, then most things cleared up. So yeah, there have been some really strange things happening. So given that, I mean, we were going to talk about an online strategy. So basically, the last couple of sessions, we talked about getting our landing pages going, and you know what a landing page is, and how do we do that. And so now, I mean, if we've got a website, and by the way, I published my Mindset Monday just on the kind of thinking that one needs to do prior to setting up a website. And I've actually had quite a few people have sort of reshared that particular one. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that we all need to be aware of and need to be thinking about. But so the whole idea is what should our online strategy be? And of course, our website with its landing pages is only one part of it. And so, and what we're doing here is maybe another part of it. But what else is there? What's everybody else deciding to do in terms of their overall wider online strategy? Anybody want to offer? Yeah,
I'm happy to throw in my 2 cents. In terms of the overall online strategy, personally, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing because A, it's working. People are responding to it. Okay, and it's really just engaging with my audience through comments within the site, engaging with my audience through Google Plus and whatever social media, and engaging my audience with email. This is a really important one. Contrary to what this person had said about email marketing is going away, I completely disagree with that, as you probably saw with my head shaking. So
well, I threw it out there because I knew you guys would disagree.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, what's the first and last thing people usually do on a computer? Is check their email. And that's not going away anytime soon. But in terms of engaging with email marketing, you probably think, well, how do I engage with email marketing when it's typically a one-way type of communication? It's not. When you ask them to reply. When you ask them to reply, they are more likely to engage. I have an email funnel series. It's like this 10-day course. The first email that gets sent to them is, it's obviously it's a hello, welcome to the course. And I ask at the end, I said, please hit reply. Let me know you received this. Let me know your the username that you signed up to, and so on. And I'm surprised myself as to how many people actually do that. I thought, maybe a couple here or there. I'm saying maybe about 40% of that, when people receive that email, actually reply. They actually hit reply, knowing that it's an email funnel series, right? So it's great. I absolutely love that. So that's showing me that that is a very effective message, or a very effective way to communicate with your audience, because it's showing that, you know, and I'll reply back to most of them, right? So it's fantastic. It's a very effective way. It lowers people's guards down, you know, and it works really well. Email marketing is not going away anytime soon. You know, maybe they'll check it on their phone, but does it mean it's going away? No. So, I mean, that's my strategy, is just carry on, wayward son, and just, you know, be evergreen and keep rolling. One thing I want to mention, Alana said that she would never give out her phone number, yet last week you'd mentioned that an oil company sent you a text message of a sale or a deal or something. So...
Okay, yeah, that is a caveat. So yes, I did. I don't think I even realized I gave it to them, because I wouldn't have done it over the internet. I would have done that perhaps
when they fill out the form or whatever, right? Yeah.
They may have, and I think what happens now, I actually remember how it happened. When I'm on the phone with them ordering my oil, they ask for a contact phone number.
Yeah.
Knocking on the door and I'm in the back of the house or whatever, and I don't hear it, he can call me on the phone. That's how they got my number. Yeah. But in general, on Facebook, I've seen it on other social media type sites where they ask you for your phone number, and I put my phone number because I just don't want that to happen. Mm-hmm. Asked by phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I've done the opposite. I put my phone number out there everywhere because I do want people to contact me. I mean, as a coach, I need it to make it as easy as possible for people to connect with me. So.
Well, I think it depends on your niche as well. I mean, you're in a niche where people do need to they do need to call you. I mean, the niches that I'm in, I don't think require people to call me on the telephone.
You're absolutely right. It does depend on your niche. Now, I really should share this long comment that Vivek just shared. Lots and lots of potential for Google training to happen here in India, because adoption of Google technology is so disparate and disjointed here in India. So I see a lot of opportunity for coaching and training in Google technologies here in India. Well, that's nice to know. That's nice to hear that there is a demand for all of this for you, Vivek. There's a market for you. So, and here is a comment that Roland put up. Various authorities, friends, associates have told me with confidence over the last 5 years. Websites are dead. Emails are passé. Videos will never catch on. Social media is all you need. Don't need responsive website. Right. That kind of says it all, doesn't it? Well, and I guess the message is, I mean, the message still is we got to go where our clients are. So if I want to attract 20-somethings, I'm certainly not going to be trying to attract them using email.
Can I quickly say something about this Google update that you started with?
Yes.
Shed some light on this. All right. So from what I've read and from my experience, I think, you know, it's not going to be a big deal as long as your site is responsive. Basically, what they're saying, what Google says is, all right, we've got one database of search results, of index search results. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be splitting that into two. One is focusing on mobile. The other is going to be focusing on desktop. The one that's going to be more prominent and more updated more frequently is the one for mobile. The one for desktop is not going to be updated as often. So all that basically means, and I think it's a very valid point to do this, because things on mobile are changing. Content on mobile is changing faster.
Yeah.
So it just means so if you write a new blog post tomorrow, does that mean that it's going to show up on mobile, but it's not going to show up on desktop? Absolutely not. No, it just merely means that they've segregated the two databases so that, and they're pushing the mobile experience at the front, mm-hmm. and then at the desktop at the back, so that it can, because, that the majority of people who are on Google are using mobile. So that's all it is. It doesn't mean that, your sites are going to de-index, your sites are not going to rank, all that kind of stuff. The only thing that you want to make sure that you have is some sort of mobile experience. So a theme that is responsive, even a dedicated mobile site, which is totally allowable from the perspective of a local business. I do it for my clients. And it works just fine. So, I think, the fear mongers tend to put a lot of fear in this. And honestly, folks, I really don't think that we need to be scared of anything. We are their commodities. Google needs us to run their business.
We are the information.
Yeah. So as I said earlier, carry on, my wayward sons.
Oh dear, I think, as you said, mentioned fear mongering. I mean, the fear mongering that's going on online right now is it's all across the board. It concerns me a great deal when it comes to politics, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, I mean, there seems to be a trend where fear is being used as a marketing tool. And I think that is the most unethical thing that people can do. And I don't care whether it's a politician or whether it's somebody trying to make a living. I really honestly do not think it's an ethical thing to do is to put add to people's fears. We all have enough of them to start with. We don't need somebody that's going to add more.
Thank you. You are so right. And it's always so for me, so impossible that you are pressed into something by fear. And I have to share on a blog post about what SiteLock did to me. It's really amazing. It is for me, it's just not possible that a server hosting a service goes together with such a business which is treating clients in the way. And I still will do it. I will promise you.
Yeah, good, because I know you've kind of made some side references, and I've been curious to know what did happen. Yeah,
it's working with fear, and and they can do it when you are not expert in an area, when you cannot really know if it's right what they say or not. So, I had it planned for today. Let's see if I still get it.
Well, and some of the articles around what Donald Trump is using this black, what's it called? There's a way of posting stuff. He's using Facebook actually, and there's somebody's gone in and actually done an analysis of what he's been doing, and they're predicting that he's going to make use of this to create his own TV kind of presence, and it's just a way to pull people into that fear stuff again. Yeah.
I did a fascinating study a while back on well, it was very popular, I don't know, a year or two ago. Seth Godin actually started, I think he brought it to the forefront. And it was all about the lizard brain is what they're calling it. And it's basically the human amygdala that responds to emotion.
Yes.
The response of the amygdala is almost instantaneous. That's why we use visuals.
Mm-hmm.
It gets right into the lizard brain.
Yes.
But the lizard brain is fear response, food response, reproductive response. And those are the basic instincts for people, and that's what people are targeting, so that they get a visceral reaction right away.
Yeah.
And okay, it's easy to do when it's fear. That's one of them. So
yeah, and I mean it's like I say, I mean to trade on people's fears. I understand that the whole buying process is an emotional response. Definitely is. Know that. But does it have to be a fear emotion? Can it not be another emotion? So what about what about everybody else? I mean, Jay, I hear you. Let's just keep on doing what works. Is a good way to think about it. But what else?
Well, and you touched on something, and I think it's worth stopping and thinking about it, and it goes to what Jay said as well. And it's, if you know where your audience is playing,
yeah,
then that's the platform you're using. The change is happening so rapidly that there's something new almost every day. I think it's important to stay on top of those.
Yep.
But to figure out who's using them and how big that sector is, and whether they're really the people you want to talk to anyway. So,
right.
We get dazzled by the too many shiny objects syndrome too often, I think. I know I do. It's just saying.
Well, I think it's, if I go back to Enneagram, I'm a number 7. And number 7s always want to learn new things and want to, they are always attracted by the shiny new things. So I've known that about myself for a long time. But it has its positive sides and its negative sides. And I see Heidi is nodding there. So obviously you're aware of Enneagram and how it...
Yeah, I'm a number 4, and I always want to go into depth. Know things. I'm not so much into selling stuff, but
the irony is that the Enneagram is actually a contributing factor to that shiny object syndrome,
Understand who to address it to, your publicity. And as you said before, Lol, and there are other emotions, but there are studies about that the fear emotion is the strongest one. It's pushing you immediately to press the button, while joy, you forget it. And then and the sellers, they know it, who wants to make money. They're abusing the human tendency to respond to fear. They don't care about the people who they feel afterwards. And when they are again scammed by what they have sold them, they don't care about that. It's immediate cash is important. And how you get it and how the people feel, it's not really their interest, only the money. We have to overcome the money society, the money value. We really need to go out, otherwise nothing will change.
Do you know, my walking partner, we have wonderful conversations every in the morning. And she said something that really struck home for me this morning. She said, I'm getting to the point where I don't know whether I believe anything that I see on the internet anymore. And I thought, what a shame, because it is such a a wonderful tool. But when we get to that point where we don't believe anything that we see. Now here's another comment from Vivek. Creating fear response is what prevents humanity from progressing further. Lots of marketers still use it, and that is bad. I would quote Michelle Obama here, when they go low, we go high. It is a pity she is not one of the candidates in the US. Yeah. I guess Vivek must have watched her, one of her speeches. She sure did, sure did touch a lot of hearts, I think, for sure. Now I see there's a comment over here. I'm still here, but cut video so I don't lose my connection. Oh, this is Alana. So I've got so many comments popping up everywhere. It's really fun to try to stay on top of it. So I mean, I mean, when the other thing I really want to emphasize and have us all kind of remember as a way of getting around this whole fear-based thing, and that is this whole concept of relationships. And Jay, you said engaging with your audience. I mean, that's basically creating almost a personalized relationship with your clients. And I mean, that's how trust builds. That's how people, I mean, when that kind of trust builds, that's when people want to do business together. Yeah. So here is Roland has just added a comment. For years, I've been saying 80% is inaccurate or obsolete. Just need to be a valuable 20% of the 80-20 rule. Yeah, right. But I guess what I've been observing, what I observe is that when it comes to technology, people don't seem to know how to do that engagement piece. And so I think it's up to all of us in this room, because we all do one aspect or another. It's up to all of us to model that behavior and to teach that behavior whenever we get the opportunity. It's the way I see it. I don't know if anybody else has any comments about that. No? So in engaging on whatever platform that we know we have, and looking at people as I mean, I would want to go back to the whole integral thing as we move up the ladder of development. We get away from the us and them and the black and white and all of that, and move toward we are all one kind of a worldview. And it strikes me that I mean, the internet and everything that we're doing here is a tool where we can actually find our way to be thinking on a global basis. We are all one. But I mean, there are people who are not at those levels, and so we need to be modeling that kind of behavior. Is the only hope that I see out there anyway. So, and I'm looking at the clock. We're a couple of minutes after, and I really do want to share with you, and I know there's a way to do it, but I don't think I have the time to do this, but I want to share with you a picture I took in front of someone's house this morning on my walk. And I will tell you I'll show it to you first. Can you see? It's a pumpkin with
Donald Trump pumpkin.
A Donald Trump pumpkin, and there's a sign in front of it. And I'll read you what the sign says. It says, "If I don't get all the candy, This Halloween is rigged. Oh my God, I thought we'd die laughing when we saw that. There it was, just sitting on somebody's lawn. So somebody's able to maintain their sense of humor in the midst of all this fear that's floating around. So, I see there's another comment from Roland here. Engagement must be redefined to the 80%, but this will not happen. So must focus on the few who care, the 20%. I don't know if I would agree with that, Roland. That's a kind of feels kind of a little bit cynical for me. You know, I'm always the glass is half full. That's what number 7s are. So, and here's another comment from Vivek. When one has to handle a lot of things, trust and engagement seem to be two sides of the same coin. This makes it hard to get either. People engage with your content when they trust you, but you can build trust only when you engage. Often it is a chicken and egg problem, which should come first. Good question. Yes, chicken and egg. So I think I
wanted to make a quick comment. You say glass is half full, glass is half empty. An engineer says the glass is the wrong size.
I love it. Okay. And I see Roland has said realistic, 20% is more than we think. So, and Paul, you added something there, but it jumped away before I got a chance to read it.
No, I just put in there half full or half empty. The glass is the opportunity. Do it what you want. Fill it up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, isn't it fun the way we can play with different metaphors and to make them say what we want them to say? So boiling the water is a good way to change things, is what Nathan says.
Water? What's that?
So, and Roland says you can't convert the masses, but you can lead a focused movement. All right. So let's all make our desire for the next the coming months on the internet here is for us all to model the whole concept of engagement and relationship building, and just doing what works the best we can. That's really all we can do, isn't it? So anybody have a parting shot before I hit the stop broadcast button? No?
I think just just keep working on what you're doing. And if you have, if you have issues or you have questions about like mobile search or how to communicate effectively with your clients or your audience and whatnot, ask about it. Ask your audience. How do you want to be, survey them, send a mass email, but honestly, I think if there was one strategy I think people should focus on beyond blogging or writing content online, I think it would be to capture your prospects' email, and not in a marketing way, in a way where people genuinely want to give you their email, right? And because it's just such a great technique to eventually, for the lack of a better term, sell to them,
Yeah.
The way I like to call it is leading them down the right path of purchasing.
That's a different way from talking about selling.
Mm-hmm. Well, on it, and that's really what I feel is I'm helping my list go down this path because I see, like we just talked about earlier, shiny object syndrome, right? People have this kind of thing of where they're looking, beyond where they need to go. So it's my job to put horse blinders on these people and to make sure that they go down that path, which I think seems to be the right one. Now, everyone has their own opinion about it, but there you go. That's all I have to say about that. But yeah, capture emails, build an email list, right? And there's so many tools available to do this, free and paid. But I think it is probably one of the wisest investments that you as an entrepreneur can invest in is email marketing.
Okay. So, and I see Roland would like to have the last word.
Not really. Can you hear me actually?
Yes.
Oh, that's okay. So the one thing that I could say is connectivity for me worked perfectly to get into your Hangout. And the thing about not being video today, you don't want to see me. So I'll just be a voice in the background. But these are all really good points. I think Jay touched on a lot of stuff that's very, very vital. But the most important thing is the engagement and the things that he's talking about, the surveys, they're asking questions and so forth, all speaks to engagement from the standpoint of interchange of information. Ask a question, give an answer. Get a question, give an answer. Mm-hmm. Find out more about the people who are even hanging around and asking you questions, because sometimes you're selling the wrong thing. You want to sell one thing and you have all these services and you're trying to push something. You don't even know what your clientele wants or needs. Mm-hmm. And so the communication is essential for sure. And I've long since outgrown the mode of shiny objects. And I run into clients all the time. They want this or they think that because the shiny object says, you'll make $1 million if you just sign up here and pay me $100 a month. And everybody wants to make the $1 million, so they're willing to give up the 100, but it never works because the system is good for a few people, the chosen few who do it a certain way, but it just doesn't work for everybody. So the masses are out there buying 80% of the stuff that is not going to work for them. So they have to find the thing that will work for them, and that's somewhere in the 20%. And it's usually a smaller percentage than that. So that's my 2 cents for the day. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Lola Ann, I heard something the other day that I liked. It said, social media and the internet is like standing on the busiest corner in the world and trying to attract attention by yelling when all you have to do is stop someone and engage them. And think of how many people it gives you the ability to stop and engage with, and then you figured out how to use the internet successfully. And I stopping sales breath is something I'm a big fan of. So, and Jay hit on it. There is no such thing as sales. There's only people buying, and just learning how to engage them and where they are in that process and help them is how it works. So, anyway.
Right. And Nathan signaled that he had a parting shot as well.
Not necessarily a parting shot, but since I've been marketing this new service, largely not knowing what I'm doing and just experimenting with a whole bunch of stuff, just to see it. The old expression is, I'm putting as many irons into the fire as I can, and we'll see which ones get hot first. Mm-hmm. Not knowing exactly what I'm doing, but just experimenting. So one of the things was meeting a lead generator on LinkedIn and updating my LinkedIn profile to match that, and then getting feedback from him about my market and where I needed to go and what's going to work and what doesn't. And only in the last week have I done those major changes. And while we were sitting here, somebody pinged me from LinkedIn saying, I want to talk to you about ghostwriting a book. And I thought, okay, I need to call this dude when I get off the chat. But the other thing is, somewhere along the line, I can't remember how it happened, I got an invitation to learn about Twitter marketing through an outfit called Social Quant. And they give you a 14-day free trial of their service. And whole ton of lessons, and I've gone from 836 followers to over 2,000 this morning in 23 days using their system. But they also tell you about engagement and what to do and how to engage and all this sort of stuff. I'm getting retweets like all over the place, and people writing to me and asking me questions. And yeah, some of you were talking about certain types of headlines, and somebody from that engagement wrote to me or called me, what was it, last night, the night before, and told me how I could monetize Twitter in a particular way, and I'm going to start testing it. But the idea is what Jay said, and I agree 100% because I've had good results with it too, is to build an email list and engage with them exactly as he was saying, like hit the reply button. I've used that strategy too, and I know it works. I'm in Jay's camp 100% on this stuff. I know he's right, at least by my own experience. Let me put that caveat in there. By my own experience, I very much agree with him. And so, yeah, that's about it. But the Twitter thing has been really interesting because one of the things I learned as part of the challenge is once you break 2,000, that's when things really start to take off because a lot of restrictions are lifted, and you can build it much faster. And it's opened up a whole new world to me. I had no idea that this could happen. I had no idea that you could have real engagement on Twitter, and people are writing to me and asking me my opinion on stuff. It's just astonishing to me. So anyway, that's what's going on.
I think that each one of the platforms, there's a slightly different way to engage on each one of them.
Agreed.
And it's what we have to do is learn, is figure out how to engage on each one, and if we try to apply what we know from one to the other, it doesn't work.
Yep.
Right. So, right on. So, folks, I think we have gone way over again this week. Oh dear. So, it's time now for us to wrap up today's conversation. And I just want to remind everyone that you can find a number of supports and resources for solopreneurs in the Google Plus world, my Being Your Own CEO community. And I encourage you all to post things that you think will be helpful to other solopreneurs. You're most welcome to. And I have a collection called Supports for Solopreneurs, where I post some things in there as well as my website, loaland.com, has a lot of supports for solopreneurs. And finally, I do encourage anyone watching out there to please do take the time to get to know the folks that are in this hangout, because they all have some wonderful services, and you could hear by what we've been talking about that we're all sort of very ethical, sensible, good people to work with. So I have no idea what we're going to talk about next week, but I'm sure we'll think of something. So take care and see you next week. This is Loa Land signing off.